Hi folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you for stopping by to watch. Well, 24 hours from now, it's a big election day here in the United States. To be honest with you, I'm kind of tired of it. I say this every election cycle. I'm tired of it. Ready for it to be over with. What will be, will be. I'm tired of talking about it. I'm tired of hearing about it. I'm tired of everyone drumming up this fear and panic. This guy's going to win and it's going to be awful. Or this guy could win and it's going to be even worse. I'm tired of constantly hearing about all the possible disasters that's going to transpire just because of this election. So I'm ready for it to be done. But I'm going to talk about it today. The reason is I thought long and hard because I had a really good topic for a video today, and I'll get to that in another video because I was tired of talking about this election. The reason is I'm talking about it is because there's still a lot of people out there that are they're afraid, they're panicking, they're worried at least. They are trying to do everything they can to get ready, and maybe they live in an area that it's more prone to danger and violence, that has a greater risk of something bad happening because of this election. So because of that, I want to talk about some last minute things that you can do to get yourself ready. And then just about this talk. I mean, it's everywhere. I mean, there's really no area of American society that's not talking about this potential looming violence. It's all mainstream now. You know, a few weeks back, it was more on the fringe that was talking about the possibility of violence, but it's mainstream, and I think it's pretty much to the point. I don't know I haven't seen if there's even if there is a poll out, but I would guess that probably better than 80% of the American population believe that some level of protest, rioting, violence, all the way up to civil war, will happen starting probably tomorrow. I mean, there's been violence happening for weeks, and you could even go back months, but I'm talking specifically because of the election. Now, before I get into some tips, let's just talk about it, because I know I get a lot of people, my listeners, saying, yeah, nothing's going to happen, it's all just hype, and it's all just, and you know what? You're right, it is media hype. It is one side hyping it up and the other side hyping it up, and they're followers of each side hyping it up. You're correct. That is exactly what it is. There are credible threats, and we've seen actual action out of organizations like Black Lives Matter and Antifa. I showed a video conference call a few days ago of what they're planning to do. It was a leaked footage. So we know that is actually going on. It's mostly the left media is making all these claims that right-wing militias are going to be involved. And, to be honest with you, it wouldn't surprise me. It would not surprise me if there are some, because there's definitely very fringe extremist. Not every right-wing militia, patriot type of group is a reputable organization. Some of them are very hateful and biased and fringy. I mean, you have to call it like it is. Just because I'm very strongly right-leaning and supportive of the concept of militia and stuff doesn't mean I can't call them out. So, sure. But here's the thing to remember. For those of you that's been watching me for months, especially going back to the first of the year, if you'll remember back when the health crisis all started, I was telling you then to stock up. I was telling you to get prepared because we were going to experiencing lockdowns and all kinds of stuff. I felt, and I said it wasn't because I felt that this, potential disease, illness, or whatever was really all that bad. What I believed at the time was that because of the hype of media, government officials, all across the board, that it will get everyone into such a frenzy that they will panic, and that panic will actually be the worst part. And in fact, that really is what happened. People panicked and they ran to the stores and they panic bought, and there was immediate shortages. Governments panicked and locked down vast amounts of the economy. And companies panicked and they shut down their stores and their warehouses and their production facilities. There was a great panic. And so the panic was really, in a way, a lot worse than what actually happened with the disease. And I'm not saying it doesn't exist. I'm just saying that the panic was probably worse than the actual illness. And I think that's what we're seeing now and what we will see. So even if you believe that, it's all just media hype, it's just the media drumming people up, scaring people, getting them all riled up, you're correct. And that alone is cause for concern. Because as we have seen over the past few years, and especially this year, people are cattle. People will follow whatever the loudest voice is, the vast majority of people. And because enough people will follow that, there'll be enough people ready to enact violence and enough of the other people in a panic wanting to run, leave, purchase things, all that kind of stuff, then it creates a real situation when in fact in the beginning there really wasn't. So in that respect, that's what we are talking about, or what they are talking about potentially happening. I believe it very well could. They're creating a situation. They're creating all the violence by just constantly talking about it, because it gets people afraid and it gets people riled up, and then boom, you have like a striking a match to a keg of gunpowder. So because of all that, I believe that it's smart for us to get ready. I don't think you have to entrench yourself like you're going to World War III. That may be down the road. But I think for right now, we're looking at certain areas, widespread maybe, meaning several cities, but I think mostly your urban areas, some suburban areas, are going to see some violence. We're going to potentially see slowdown of the system, like distribution, food systems, any type of distribution. We could see a slowdown because of that, and then you add to that, obviously, the second or third wave, or whatever they're saying, will probably be affecting all of this too. So because of that, that's why. And I know I'm going to get someone to say, my goodness, you're rambling on, get to the point. Well, that is the point. I just gave you the point. Now, I'm going to add some tips to the point also. I get people, and I'm not making fun of you. They're like, oh man, it took you 7 minutes to get to the point. Well, the 7 minutes was the point today. Here are some additional tips to my point. Some things that you can do right now, before the election, during the election, whatever, to ensure that you're even more prepared, that you're ready. If you need to go out and buy some stuff, go ahead, but you're probably not going to have enough. If you don't have all the things you need stocked up right now, odds are you're not going to get it within the next 24 hours. So, I mean, you can try, but it may be difficult for you. Anyways, do a gear check. Check your gear. Check your flashlights. Check and make sure everything's working. Firearms, if you have them, which you should. Check things like your vehicles. Make sure they're topped off. Check your your house, your perimeter, making sure that your plan for securing it's working. Gear check. Bug out bags. If part of your plan includes potentially bugging out, make sure you've checked them. Do a gear check, okay? It's the same thing as you do before you go into combat. Do a gear check. Here's something a lot of people kind of forget. Check on loved ones. Maybe you have an elderly parents, or someone that is, family, close friends. Maybe they're shut in, maybe they're disabled, maybe they're a single mother. Check on them and see how they're doing. I know in talking to my own mother, yes, I have a mother, okay? I know someone was probably going to say that. That a lot of the elderly people, especially those that live alone, because most of them, what they're getting fed is what they're watching on mainstream news. and a lot of them are a little afraid right now. They're scared of what's possibly going to happen. And they think that it's going to happen directly to them, and it very well could, depending on where they live. So check on them. Make sure they're okay. If they don't live in the safest area, maybe see if, hey, you know, why don't you come over and stay at our house for a few days? Or if they're far away, you know, recommend someone that you know, maybe in the family. Do you think you could maybe go over there and kind of hang out with them for a few days, have a little trip and go see them? But make sure that your loved ones, especially those that would be considered the weaker part of society, and I'm not saying you're weak, I'm just saying what society would look at, make sure they're okay. If you think of bugging out, make sure you do it early. If that is one of your plan, and this is especially for those people that live in areas that you know are probably going to be very risky, that's going to be potentially violent. Maybe you've already seen riots and stuff over the past few months in your area. So if that is your plan to bug out, or it's definitely higher up on your plan, make sure that you're ready to do it and that you leave in time. I'm going to show you a clip. We're going to talk while the clip is going on. This is in Paris, France, over the last few days. I think 3 days ago, 4 days ago, something like that. They reenacted their lockdown, very strict lockdown, no movement, no running around, all kinds of stuff. And the people in Paris are kind of going crazy. Part of them are rioting in the streets, and it should be playing right about now. They're evacuating. They're leaving the city. I mentioned this yesterday in my live stream, but look at this video, folks. They're saying, the reporting is that 430 miles of interstate and highways in and around Paris was completely traffic jammed because of all this. We're talking tens of thousands, potentially hundreds of thousands. I haven't seen the exact number, but just look at this video. 430 miles, that's a lot, guys. I mean, you know, we're talking like from St. Louis to Tulsa, Oklahoma, of people that are evacuating the area. You don't want to get caught up in that. If that happens in your area, and it very well could, I mean, think of the times that hurricanes and stuff, what we've seen, maybe you've been in the middle of it, maybe you've just seen it, where people are trying to evacuate. That is a very dangerous situation. To try to evacuate, and you're stuck in the middle of hundreds and hundreds of thousands, or at least tens of thousands of people, all evacuating at the same time. It's absolutely not a good situation at all. It could be one of the worst scenarios, or definitely high up when you're bugging out or just evacuating. So do your best to not get caught up in the middle of that. If you're leaving, or if you're just going about, if you're just, you know, going to the grocery store or going to work or something, try to use the least used routes to get there. So if your normal route to work is taking the main freeway, you might consider taking something else, because as we've seen over the last few months with a lot of the BLM and Antifa riots, they seem to stick to the main thoroughfares to do a lot of their road blocking, you know, on-ramps onto interstates, bridges, the more higher populated and higher trafficked area. I think they figure they can do more damage if they shut down the major highways than if they shut down some little alley. I mean, it makes sense. So over the next week or weeks, depending on how this works out, use areas, roads and stuff that are not trafficked as much, kind of the back way, you know. You all know what I'm talking about. Another one is be a gray man. And I've done videos on this, and so have others, so if you want to know exactly what that is, or more in detail, go look that up here on YouTube. But basically, it's just being incognito, not drawing attention to yourself. If you live in an area that is going to be violent, or that is, you know, some type of uprising, insurrection, violence, terrorism, riots, whatever, it's probably a good idea to be low-key. You know, kind of like my wife and I were talking the other day about this. Out here where we live, there are Trump signs everywhere. everywhere. Bumper stickers, signs. I mean, I can take you down farm roads and state, little county roads and state roads where probably 99%, 95 to 99% of the houses have some type of Trump sign, flag, whatever. Many of them have multiples. I have never, in this election cycle, seen a single Biden sign or bumper sticker in my area. Why? Because they know that it's going to bring attention to them. Much in the same way that if you lived in Chicago or Portland or whatever, you probably don't want to be, you know, waving a Trump sign. So you're not bringing attention to yourself. That's the idea. Don't bring attention to yourself. If things start going down, probably don't wear your patriotic gear, especially if you live in these areas. You know, don't look like someone that's of the opposing side, or don't look like someone that's a threat. Don't look like someone that has things. Don't look like a prepper. Don't look like you're armed. Don't look like you're out there ready for a fight. Just kind of blend in. That's the idea of gray man. So remember that. One last thing, and it really kind of goes along with the first one, which is a gear check, is make sure you have everything charged up. Flashlights, cell phones, radios, ham radios, walkie-talkies, whatever it is, make sure everything's topped off. Go ahead and plug everything in today, tonight, and get everything topped off, because you never know. It doesn't mean that, you know, I'm not saying that there's going to be a grid failure, but it could happen in certain areas. And if you need any of those items, you want to make sure that they're working and ready. There's too many times, this was actually just a while back, in my first line kind of battle belt that I keep a lot of my gear on. I have a good flashlight in there, and when I put it in, I had it fully charged and had it set in there. And the other day I pulled it out to test it, and it was dead. And I had accidentally left it on the low setting, and it died. So things like that can happen. Make sure your batteries are good and everything's topped off. These are just some tips that you need to do, because even if you think it's all silliness, the fact that a vast majority of the rest of the country is gearing up to either take on this battle or terrified that it's going to happen, and they're out there, whether they're panic buying or they're whatever they're doing, because of that, much like we saw back in the spring with the health crisis, we should do our due diligence to be prepared. All right, last minute tips for those that are still around to the end of this video. The map is going great. Did a bunch of work on it today, sent out a bunch more emails. Keep it coming. Links in the description below for that. If you are looking for long-term food storage type products, go to preparewithtravis.com. I'm working with My Patriot Supply. They offer some really, really great products, and they're still doing pretty good on their turnaround time on your order. So go do that. Thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.